Hey, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Tyson Alger here, joined by Justin Myers. And Justin, before we really get started here, I want to read you a few things.
Okay.
After the Penn State game for Lookout Eugene Springfield, I do my Monday kind of wrapping up the weekend. And every week of the season, I've posted out a thing on Twitter and Blue Sky where I go, let's take the temperature of the room. After blank games, Oregon is... And then I let the fans fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I asked this question, right? We have our most talented team ever, at the precipice of doing something remarkable.
Boom.
Owner of the longest home win streak in college football. Owner of the longest road win streak in college football. The only team in the Big Ten to have never lost a Big Ten conference game.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Looking at a well-timed bye. Cool, rich, and 5-0. A team that, barring major injuries, will be far better in 6 weeks than they are now. All the youth that's been getting through regular playing time will show up big in places like in the secondary. Better than last year, even after sending 10 to the league. So this was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago.
This was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was Oregon beat Penn State, double overtime.
Yeah.
They were in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you caught the game.
I caught the game. You were at the game.
A little bit's changed in the 2 to 3 weeks since then.
And I don't know what's going to ultimately happen, like with when we put this podcast out. I'm hoping that you're not also going to then clip what I was saying 2 weeks ago.
No.
Right here in this spot.
No. I wouldn't do that. There's too much trust in this relationship here, Justin.
Because I was with all those people.
Yeah.
I was right there with them.
I mean, and the thing is, it's way easier to clip tweets than like to go through the audio. Like, that's a lot of work. That's why we don't have a good social presence, you know. So 2 weeks later, Oregon loses 30-20 to Indiana. Wasn't actually that close. I mean, if it wasn't,
really was not.
If it wasn't for Brandon Finney's pick six there in the fourth quarter, like that's, ugh. Like I think we came into that game thinking like, okay, like it wouldn't be a shocker if Indiana won this. Like Indiana's good.
Yeah.
We had all these questions about Penn State. You know, they've lost 2 in a row. Like James Franklin might be coaching for his job. And then you get to that game, and I thought the tone was set from the very first drive when Ducks get to midfield. It's 4th and short. Dan Lanning rolls out the fourth down group to go for it. Like if you're the coach who's shirtless on game day 5 hours before that, you can't not go for it on 4th and short to establish your presence and dominance. And
100%.
Indiana stuffed them, and that was kind of the whole rest of the game there. It was. And I know it's Friday, it's late in the week. We don't need to like fully dive back into Indiana, but I haven't talked to you since, and yeah. A
couple things. Well, first off, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
I wonder if people
were
wondering if we were going to be like Ducks versus them, and we only do the pod after wins.
Yeah, exactly.
We've talked about that multiple times. Like, what must that feel like? Okay, the losses. Like, who feels it the worst? Is it the coaches? Is it the players?
It's the video production.
Is it the fans?
It's 100%.
Or is it the video production crew?
It's 100% the video.
That put in hours and hours and hours of work. And we joke about editing. Look, editing sucks. It's the work. Like, tip of the cap to all audio, written, video editors out there, because it sucks. It is not a fun job. It is meticulous. I miss a lot of things about doing daily radio. I do not miss editing in any way, shape, or form. And to just know that you put in all that work, and as soon as that second interception happened and it was like official, you're like, we're just going to have to flush all this down. Now, they may have had a better Saturday night knowing that you don't have to video the post game, but that had to be brutal.
Is this why for the last month you've been tweeting release the tapes, release the files?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got me. So, yeah, it was... Okay, I'm just going to take you through all the things that you said, because I woke up Saturday morning hopeful, excited.
Your base level is optimistic.
Since Ohio State of last year, we talked about this last week, we really haven't had like a big time game at Autzen. Like, it's been a full calendar year, and here comes Indiana, and here comes game day, and it's 12:30 kick, and top 10 matchup, everything, and then Tyson, I saw Dan Lanning take his shirt off with Pat McAfee, and please don't ask my wife on Twitter, but you can ask my wife. I said right there, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Now I'm all for being fired up, and I love getting the fans involved and pumping up the crowd. But I think head coaches should go by the Nick Saban rule, which is coach with emotion, don't be emotional. And I felt like Dan Lanning crossed the line there. Not that it mattered one way or the other. All I saw was with him taking his shirt off, and I'm like, if they lose, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And so that happened.
You could see the gears kind of just turning in his head because like McAfee took his off first, and then like Dan gets up on the chair and he looks over at him, and like he kind of starts to like untuck, and like you can even see like McAfee go like, oh man, he's gonna do this too.
Yeah. And it's odd that like the two most cringe Dan Lanning moments, if I could borrow a term from the kids, have been with him with his shirt off because he jumped in the pool with the kid who didn't even come here.
That was the similar vibes it had.
It's the same thing I felt.
It was there's a camera on me. There's going to be people watching this. I have to blink.
Yeah. So that was the start of the day. Still winning. Vibes are high. And yeah, that fourth down play.
Were you at the game?
I was there.
What was the crowd environment like? Because from our perspective up in the perch, it felt like a game where like the crowd just kind of kept being like, is this like anxious to rev up? But like that didn't feel like a top 10 atmosphere crowd. And I wonder how much of that was just the fact that the Ducks never gave them something to really.
Yeah. So you know how like when you have like family together and we're going over old times, but then there's that one time we just don't talk about as a family. Mm-hmm. This felt very Stanford. It did.
Yeah.
It felt like every bad Stanford game where just the crowd is ready to pop and for whatever reason couldn't get over the hump. And Indiana kind of looks like Stanford out there. They kind of played like Stanford a little bit out there. They weren't doing anything phenomenal. Like I don't know if you kept doing this during the game. I kept looking up. Now you have the stats in front of you because you're up in the press box and they hand you all the information.
Easy job.
I am looking at the stat board there in the east end zone, and I'm looking up going like, they only have 130 yards of offense.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? And it just seemed like every time they needed some kind of big play, they got it, but not an explosion play,
right?
Just enough to keep Oregon from getting the momentum in the game, even to the point where
it kind of looked like 1,000 cuts.
Felt a little bit like 1,000 cuts, yes. Yeah. 1,001 with that dig. Even to the point, like, it's weird how we've been trained as Oregon fans, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but, like, they do the countdown to shout. Mm-hmm. And it's like you want like a third down, Oregon's on defense, needing a stop, or like right after a touchdown and need a big stop. And instead you got right after an Indiana score.
Yeah.
And it was just like if they would have gotten that pick six and then shout happened, and then that crowd's
game over.
But just it was kind of indicative of everything that was happening. Not that shout has any magical powers, but it's just like could never get crowd momentum, execution all on, just couldn't get it aligned at home. And Indiana had an answer for everything Oregon wanted to do.
What I thought was really fascinating was, okay, so 2 weeks ago we're at Penn State, and especially as like visiting media and you're covering the Ducks and you understand the significance of like what a win like that for Oregon would be. The post game to me felt like bedlam. It's players rushing the field. It's them going to the opposing team's fan base and like waving to them or whatever they were doing, and then Lanning so like amped up in the national presser, and then when he comes into the lock, like it felt like this like monumental occasion, right? And then it's so interesting watching 2 weeks later, you're covering the game at home. Indiana wins this game, and Indiana had a pretty good traveling fan base for this game. Apparently, they have the largest alumni base in the country. So, they're around.
They were around.
But to see like Autzen all of a sudden, you're used to post game like all the Oregon fans coming down and it being a collection of yellow and green or whatever. Autzen turned like red because all the Indiana fans came down, and it was just getting out of the bubble of like you covering that team. Like it felt big events at sports when you're kind of a little bit outside of the bubble can just feel a little like, oh, so that's what that was. It's like 2 weeks ago, this felt like the biggest thing I'd ever covered. And now I'm watching like, a game ends, and from the Oregon perspective, it's everyone files out of the stadium, the press conferences happen. But then like you have to like put yourself in that perspective, like down on that field, like they're going to be remembering this for forever. And it was, Signetti came and he was on with the CBS like desk, which they had set up like right on the end zone. Like all the fans came down there. It was just the juxtaposition from earlier this season was just fascinating to see. Yeah,
it was in an instant. All of you sports writers went from just deleted Dan Lanning's name from every coaching search and put Curt Cignetti in every.
And he made himself a little bit of money this week.
So now Curt Cignetti's going to Penn State. Curt Cignetti might be going to Florida. Curt Cignetti might be what other big time program is ultimately gonna open up? And all of a sudden, Dan Lanning chooses to stay at Oregon, which is still an awesome story, and I'll still run with it. And I still think and we're going to get into the new era of college football and how this feels. It's a different feel,
right?
But all of a sudden, the Dan Lanning is turning down job after job. That story quieted down, which I'm fine with.
Well, so let me ask you, because I think going into this game, we both agreed that because of the way college football's set up now, you can lose a game and it's not devastating. Like, I don't think anybody around Eugene right now are going, the sky is falling. Like, if anything, we're kind of where we were at the start of the year. This team could be good. They're young. They're going to have some hiccups. We don't really know how good they are.
Yes.
I think we're right back in that spot, even though there was some, twists and turns in getting there. I think ultimately, if you were to tell us before the season started that Oregon would be 5-1 at the midway point of the season, we'd go, yeah, that's probably about right. They probably lost to Penn State. Swap out Penn State for Indiana, you're fine. So I don't think this was Oregon fans shaking their head going, what are we going to do with Dan Lanning? Like, I think he still held him. But do you feel like this took a little bit of that, not invincibility, but like, is Dan Lanning as cool as he was a week ago?
I mean, I think Oregon fans are fine with it.
Yeah.
But it's a week
and I don't mean to get so reactionary here. It's just like it's 1 week, it's one loss.
Yeah, but it is. That's what we live in, right? We live in a week by week sport. That's why football's awesome.
Yeah.
Football is the best because James Franklin was a 4th-and-1 away from maybe an extension.
Yeah.
At Penn State, and maybe coach of the number 1 team in the country. Like Oregon, 4th-and-1 in double overtime. Dante Moore trips and falls. Penn State's the number 1 team in the country, and Franklin's agent is talking extension. Tyson, he's been fired. He's been fired. That's where we live in.
That video last week of after the Northwestern loss, they're walking off the field. He's with his family, and he sends them through the tunnel first. Like he stops and sends them through the tunnel because he knows what's about to happen. Like, I know these guys are paid a lot of money, and like they don't. This sport is so built up that it dehumanizes people to a very large extent. But just like the emotional swing of being to where you were just saying, where 4th-and-1, Dante slips, like all of a sudden it's James Franklin, like he finally did it. It's Penn State. It's everything that they spent the last 10 months building towards, and then now he's unemployed, and the fans that loved you 3 weeks ago are just like, man, that was that was one of the more humanizing like videos I've ever seen, and it came obviously in a pretty devastating situation for the coach.
I could understand how covering a college football coach can be frustrating. You've done it for a long time now. I've kind of never really like on a day-to-day, as someone who's on the beat.
Right.
But yeah, I was there for a lot of Oregon football, a lot of Chip Kelly, a lot of Mario Cristobal, and it's that James Franklin thing, right? It's like you want to know why these guys are so hard to deal with. You want to know why they are kind of nutty. Why, and I think a lot of Oregon fans saw like Dan Lanning was a little salty earlier this week because people keep bringing up Indiana, and it's like, because you're 1 yard away from being unemployed. Like, think about that. You were 1 yard, like Penn State was 1 yard away. James Franklin, everything. Now, he had earned the narrative up until that yard.
Correct.
Of can't win the big game, can't get over the hump. But to make that play, if it goes one way or the other, he's still a coach at Penn State. And maybe they lose to UCLA. Oh, well, you know what? Trap game. They happen.
Right.
You know, you go from a whiteout to 30,000 people, but you still got that win. And instead, now the man's unemployed. Now the man's fired. And, like, I know it's frustrating to, like, deal with these coaches. And I know that sometimes you're like, okay, you're being a little, but, like, that's the, I could not imagine living in that world.
Yeah.
Now, must be nice also when you go home and pull up your bank app and you look at your account.
Do you think that all hits in one day, or is it like extended out?
I think I could be wrong. I could be telling tales outside of school. So I'm just prefacing with I don't know for sure, but like because I don't know, like I don't play the lottery, but I imagine what it would be like to win it,
right?
Which is weird because I don't play it. And I always go like, why do people take the lump sum? Give me the installments because, you know, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to live forever, clearly. And I think Mark Helfrich did that.
Okay.
I think when he got fired in 2016, I think he was like, just keep paying me as if you – and I think he got like even up until like a year ago, I think was still getting paid like $1.2 million.
He's got that Bobby Bonilla deal.
I think he did.
Well, speaking of baseball, I'm pretty sure up until last year, I think Ken Griffey Jr. was still like the 5th highest paid player on Cincinnati's payroll.
Yeah.
Because he did like the deferred contract when he.
But yeah, I don't know if it all comes in like that lump sum. That what is it? Was $59 million? Yeah. I think that James Franklin's going to get.
I think I'd have to like trust. Or I'd have to do some research on like who's running the lottery. Because, like, I read a story about somebody did that with, like, Publishers Clearinghouse. And Publishers Clearinghouse is no longer
they don't
a thing.
exist anymore.
So those checks are no longer still coming in. Just give me that first money. Let me blow it on some more Mariners postseason. Ugh.
More on that in a moment.
Yeah.
Hang in there. We'll get to the Mariners. I don't know if I'm going to get you back after we talk about
you probably won't.
The Mariners, especially when this drops.
I'll probably hit a quick home run and then go down by 12.
So, all right. So we are in 2025. We are in the playoff era of college football. Ohio State showed the blueprint a year ago that not only can you take a loss, you could take a loss plus a really bad loss, which was the Michigan loss last year, and still somehow, some way find yourself back in the mix, not only in the mix, but can win the national title.
Top of the mix.
On top of the mix.
Top of the mix.
How, from a national title perspective, how are we sitting right now with Oregon? Because that's where it's interesting to me to look at the national perspective. I'm emotional. The sky was falling for a bit. I have some notes in my phone that I'll share. I was not in my soberest of mindsets that I put right after that game.
Second quarter, sad.
But I'm emotional, right? And I'm like, oh, so I instantly go to, well, clearly Penn State was, pun intended, a paper lion.
Right.
Not a Nittany lion. Mm-hmm. Oregon's scored like, 3 touchdowns in 8 quarters against real defense. Maybe it's all falling apart. Then you look like nationally, like
nobody's good.
Everybody's still got Oregon in the top 10.
Yeah.
More people are talking about how good Indiana was in that game as opposed to how bad Oregon was in that game. And so,
yeah, Oregon's not really getting killed by the Penn State thing.
No.
Because like Penn State's really not helped because like at this point Oregon's best win is probably Northwestern, but nationally they're still giving Oregon at least a little bit of its due for that Penn State win.
Yeah. And okay, how much did James Franklin getting fired actually help Oregon? Hear me out. Here's my crazy theory. If James Franklin is still the coach and Penn State is a sinking ship, the story is Penn State was massively overrated. They're a mediocre team. That Oregon win in double overtime isn't anything. But instead, now the story is just how crazy is Penn State? Like, how nuts are those fans? Yeah. That man was in the Final Four last year, and you just fired him, and nobody's talking about how that Oregon win might not be as impressive. Right. Now, who knows when the conversation turns in December what that's going to look like, and also what else Oregon puts on the resume. But I still don't think that Penn State win, I still think that holds up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think that's where it gets challenging from, if we're still talking about like national title and from the national perspective. Because, again, as we said, at 5-1 right now, Oregon's in a pretty good spot. They're about where we expected them to be. And when we look at the schedule at the start of the year, you go big circle around Penn State, maybe a little circle around Indiana, and then the rest was just kind of like, then you're just facing like the mid of the Big Ten. Yeah. But you kind of start to look at that schedule now. Iowa's pretty good. They just beat the snot out of Wisconsin.
Yep.
Wisconsin's pretty bad.
Wisconsin stinks. They're terrible.
But that's a road game. You have USC, who has one loss and beat the snot out of Michigan.
And much different feel and vibe around USC now than maybe we had the first.
And they would love nothing more than to like unseat Dan Lanning in Oregon, especially with Lincoln Riley, who's been shit on for the last 4 years. You still have Washington, who's also 5-1, and who.
Okay, as a former, and again, it was basketball, not football, but you were an AP voter. Washington is 5-1. Their only losses to the number one team in the country by 10.
Yeah.
Well, not ranked.
No, I wrote that on.
It's so absurd.
I wrote that in my story this week. It's like, because I was outlining the schedule. It's actually a little bit harder than you think it is, and was listing all those. And I got to Washington, and it's like, Oregon fan might go, well, Washington's 5-1. It's not a good 5-1. It's like, is Oregon's 5-1 a good 5-1? Because Washington's is just about better. Like it's very, very close. And they have a quarterback who, against this Rutgers team Oregon will be playing this weekend, passed for 400 yards, rushed for like 123, had multiples. Like, Washington can get you, and that's a tough environment, especially if the Huskies can like kind of maintain a little bit. If Washington has, I don't think Washington's a playoff team, but if Washington has the opportunity to be within the conversation or end Oregon's conversation, that's going to be a very tough environment. So I think it's going to be very challenging for them to come out and win the rest of the games of this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish with 2 losses. And if you finish with 2 losses, last year in the playoff, 5 2-loss teams were at large bids. So, like, 2 losses isn't, like, the end of it. But that's when you start looking into the resume. Yeah. And that's when the Penn State thing might start stacking up. It's like, this was a good win, but then here's what Penn State's done since. And I just don't think Oregon has a whole lot of wiggle room with the way its resume or schedule is set up to win a lot of arguments unless they just win football games.
Yeah, you're because let's just say moving forward, the loss is, God forbid, Washington on the road. I'm trying to think, like, Penn State win's not going to be a win versus a ranked team.
Correct.
They were ranked at the time, but anybody with half a brain knows you have to, like, live in the now. And when you get to December, where are they ranked now? Clearly, Rutgers isn't going to be a ranked team.
Correct.
Wisconsin is going to fire their coach, likely. Then you get at Iowa, right? Is Iowa going to be a ranked team at the end of the year?
If they beat Oregon.
Fair enough. Yeah. And then Minnesota, USC, Washington. Like,
USC's ranked currently, and Washington's in that wiggle room.
Yeah. So, like, 10-2 with, at best, 1 win against a ranked team, it doesn't help. It doesn't. So
you're getting into bubble territory.
Yeah, win all your games. That's what it comes down to.
Just win them. Like, it's easy coaching. Just win.
One more thing on the Indiana thing, and then we're on to Cincinnati. But I've always said, like, I've been envious of players because, like, they have practice on Monday. Yeah. They might even have practice on Sunday. I don't know what the schedule is now. But, like, I know that on Monday, like, they do their little, hey, the postmortem, let's watch the film, on to Rutgers. And, like, they got to put their pads on and go break a sweat and start working to the next week. I've always been envious of players because you have to get over it on Monday. Because if you don't, you end up like Penn State. Whereas, like, as a fan, 2 weeks ago, much like we started the show with, I talked about how fun it is after a big win to just ingest every college football bit of content that I could. Tyson, I've read nothing this week.
No,
I have not watched one YouTube video. I'm sorry, Josh Pate. I haven't watched any of your stuff this week. I'm sorry to the Bussin' with the Boys.
Yeah.
Like, you've lost your numbers, at least in the Pacific Northwest, down by one because it was me. Because I went media blackout, and I've been watching YouTube videos of DIY projects and fiscal responsibility.
No,
That's been my week.
I can totally appreciate that because not to veer out yet, but first two Mariners games of the ALCS, I was what joy scrolling, is that what you called it?
Sure, yeah.
Just my phone battery lasted about like 3 hours for like 2 days in a row while they were out in Toronto. And then this week happened, and I haven't. Sorry, Ryan Divish. I was calling you like must read a week ago. I haven't read anything from you this week. Haven't been going through the way less Mariner stories in my stories on the Instagram. Yeah, it's tough, and I'm envious of them because like right now they're probably taking batting practice. Yeah, probably feels pretty good, Instead,
we'll get it. We just got to get one and then get on the road. Just get one at home, and then you're one win away from the World Series and get one on the road. But man, what a roller coaster this podcast has had in two different sports, in 3 weeks.
I thought of going to Game 5 last week, the 15-inning marathon. It was Friday night in Seattle. The Ducks played at 12:30 the next day. That would have been tough. That would have been tough. Around like inning 12, at that point I was convinced the Mariners were going to lose. So I was like, I made the right decision.
Dodged the bullet.
Yeah, dodged the bullet here. Then they win that game, and because it's regional, I had probably like 10 friends or so that were at the game. So you're going through the Instagram stories and you're like, God, like he went, so then, you get the Saturday happens, you start to get the FOMO. You're looking at like Vivid Seats, like, oh, okay, these tickets here, like need an oxygen tank to get up to the seats, but you can get in for around, I'm not going to say the price, but I had to sell my company to do it. And so my wife and I went up on Wednesday. It's Game 3. Mariners are leading 2-0. We get to Seattle around 2:00. We check into our Airbnb. It's in the Queen Anne area, a little bit far away, but they have this new bike path that goes like basically just around the whole waterfront. We rented those e-bikes.
Yep.
The most lovely commute to a baseball game I've ever had. It's perfect weather. About to see a playoff game for the first time as an adult. Everyone's in Mariners gear, like just everyone, like people that shouldn't, everyone's in it, and there's just a vibe in the city. You park the bikes like right outside of Lumen. They have this huge block party going out. You can buy drinks for like $18. It's just the lines 2 times wrapped around T-Mobile Park. It took like an hour to get in. You finally get to your seats about a minute before first pitch. You were worried that you were going to miss it. First inning, Julio hits a freaking home run. The Mariners are leading. This is crazy. Randy Johnson threw out the first pitch.
Just pause it right there. If you could just pause live, there's right there.
Julio hits the home run. There's 2 Blue Jays fans sitting next to me because there's a lot of Blue Jays fans there.
Yeah.
The Mariners did better than they do during the regular season in terms of keeping them out, but there was still a lot of Blue Jays fans there. Mariners go up early. I ordered the 2 Blue Jays fans next to me beers because it's just like, hey, thanks for coming out, boys. Like, it's a long trip from Calgary. Like, we're going to show you that we're gracious hosts. I go on Reddit all the time and see like the Ducks page and like people talking about like how the other fan bases treat each other, and like I don't really give a shit because I'm not a fan of of either. But like this one, I'm like, I want the Mariners to be like the good stewards, and it was. Anyways, 6 innings later, we ended up in the Trident deck, our lookout landing, like the 300-level bar, in line for drinks. Mariners are down by 10. There's 2 Mariners fans swinging at each other. Wife gets beer knocked into her. There's a scuffle. Security took like an hour to come up. And by then, it was a father and son. father and son Mariners fans swinging at each other about the game. And at that point, they had made up and are watching the game together. Security comes up and they're like, "What's going on?" They're like, "We're just watching." Anyways, it was just.
I can only imagine how it started for that particular father and son.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a magic.
A lot of game left.
Or just like the day started with, you know what? This is my dad. He made me a Mariners fan. We used to, listen to Dave Niehaus and the Griffey years. And now after, and we've all been through some tough times, that housing complex that I convinced him to invest his 401k in fell through. But you know what? The Mariners, we've always had. And, then that first inning, and then all of a sudden it turns into, I was never proud of you. You never played catch with me.
Yeah. We ever going to go fishing, Dad? Sorry, son. Next time.
So yeah, bad vibes.
Yeah,
bad vibes. It was T-Mobile.
Yeah, it was bad vibes, but also as a Mariners fan, and especially one who has sunk way too much time into them when they were very, very bad. I don't know if it's the masochistic side of me, but I was just kind of like, yeah, this is probably what I deserved. I don't deserve to see an ALCS win. The Mariners don't win these things. It's the exact opposite of what we were talking about last week, where we were watching them spray champagne in the locker room.
Yeah.
The Mariners don't do this. The Mariners do this. This is... but it was, after the game, you go, it's still up 2-1, baby. We got 2 more home games. But they're going to clinch Friday night instead of Thursday. Then it happens again last night. Exact same thing. Early lead. 9-hitter hits a home run for frickin' Toronto. All you have to do is throw sliders low and away, and that's how you get Julio out. That's how you get Suarez out. That's how you get... Naylor's awesome, though. I love that dude. If they sold jerseys in the same vein of when the pre-hold jeans were popular, but if they sell pre-dirtied up Naylor jerseys, hotcakes.
Sell like hotcakes.
Hotcakes. But so yeah, it's 2-2. We're recording this at 11 a.m. on Friday. They play again today. It might be a radio game.
It might be a radio game?
It might be a radio game. It might be I'm not...
Set up out in the back porch.
Yeah. Pretend like I'm working on something, but...
I mean, there's... to be honest, and I'm biased because I worked with the man and he is a delight, but there's something calming about Rick Riz.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And at the toughest moments, maybe Rick is who you need instead of John Smoltz... on the call.
I always feel bad
talking about how great Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s dad was and how his son might be just a little bit better. We get it.
They're going to want to jump on him early in this game. Yeah, no shit, John. Those runs are going to help. I always feel bad for the local broadcasting crew because obviously the local teams, the TV coverage ends as you get into the playoffs. So Aaron Goldsmith, who has been Seattle's main television play-by-play guy this year, who is fabulous. They've at least let him join the radio booth for this, but now it's Riz gets 2 innings, Goldsmith gets 2. It's kind of a pass the baton. We have maybe too many guys in the booth, and instead they have to, you have to be. I mean, for me, the most famous call in history for my fandom is the Dave Niehaus Edgar double. Here comes Joey. Here comes Griffey. Nobody else heard that other than Mariners Radio's fans. To me, that was the call. But then sometimes you'll see the highlights, and then you get the ESPN feed of it. And I think it's Gary Thorne on that call.
I think so too.
Which, I like Gary Thorne, but I don't want Gary Thorne calling my team's highlights. That's. At least we're not getting the Joe Buck, and they win the World Series.
Is baseball the worst in terms of because baseball is such a regional sport. Unless you're the game of the week, you watch your games
Correct.
Listening to your guys. You watch Oregon games, and again, I love Jerry Allen. Gave me my start in media, but unless I'm horrendously late or something has gone terribly wrong, I'm not listening to Jerry's call of the game. I'm listening to national television broadcasters.
Or like in the NBA, like obviously you have your own local broadcast crew too, but like I love it when like a Kevin Harlan's on the call, or like you. I feel like the other sports have more nationally respected and anticipated broadcast pairings, and for like baseball, one, I think for like especially if you're like the team like the Mariners, who obviously like a lot of the East Coast media aren't paying attention to a whole lot of the year. Like we all know everything, like we're diehards, and so it's weird having then the story transition to this like group of people who like don't really know. Like it's not a great thing when like A-Rod is the guy on set who's like having to explain like how important this is to the Mariners. And like in one sense, A-Rod probably does understand because he's gotten booed there for the last 25 years for doing something that just about everybody in sport does now. But it's just like, man, like this guy has to be the guy carrying the torch right now.
And also like it's when your team is struggling, like you really feel like the broadcast booth hates them.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't, but it feels like it's personal. Like it feels like an absolute personal attack because you spent all summer with your buddies. Like you spent all summer with, with Aaron and with Rick and with all those guys. And then all of a sudden here come these strangers and it's like, God, do they ever shut up about Toronto? And it's like, well, they are up 8-2. So yeah, it's tough.
I'm curious what the Mariners, like, not to get over the skis because obviously we just crashed into a tree this week, but for game 2 yesterday, they had Jamie Moyer come out and throw the first pitch. Mm-hmm. So they've used Moyer. They had Randy Johnson the game before. For game 5 of the ALDS, they brought out Griffey in like a convertible.
Yep, had to do it.
If they keep winning, Oregon's encountering like an Oregon game day situation. You're running out of people.
Yeah.
You're running out of people. Like you're gonna have to have Sabrina out there again, like to throw out a first. Like just like they had for game 3, which was the first one in Seattle too. They had like Jay Buhner come out and MC, and like he's re-quoting his quotes from '95 that have been. He's like, "Screw the wild cards." It's like, yeah, no shit, Jay. That was like 2 months ago, and they won the division. Like it's. I'm just surprised we didn't get like a trucks, and more trucks.
Tell them the Bone sent you.
Yeah, it's just such beautiful symmetry for Seattle to be able to. They're going to be able to honor like this team 15 years from now, which is also the anniversary. Like they're going to double up those 5-year. I'm stressed out, Justin. I'm sorry.
Hey, on to game 5.
Yeah,
maybe.
Wait, yeah, on to game 5. Today's game 5. Still,
they win game 5. What is it, Kevin Millar? Don't let us win tonight.
Don't let us win tonight.
Don't let us win tonight.
Yeah.
So.
It was cool to go into a baseball game in October. I very much enjoyed that.
I am envious. I hope to do that someday.
There was a little bit of kind of doing this would be so cool in Portland, but
yeah.
I'm more optimistic of the Mariners' chances.
All right, quick transition.
Yeah.
We mentioned James Franklin lost his job, lost in the news cycle. Oregon State needs a head coach.
They do.
They ripped the Band-Aid off. So here's my initial thoughts on this, because I saw some people online, and I understand. I understand the idea of this guy stayed when he could have left, and the idea that Trent Bray was done dirty by Oregon State, and it's unfortunate, but loyalty does not win football games. He did stay when he could have been the defensive coordinator at Michigan State, probably making the same amount of money. He stayed at his alma mater to go through the hell that it has been of rebuilding a Pac-12, and every week it seems like they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. Like, I get that he stayed, but if you watch...
It also might have been his quickest route to becoming a head coach. Like, we're lionizing this dude for sticking around, but it was also a pretty good opportunity.
Fair enough. That being said, when you know it's not the guy, it's not the guy.
Correct.
Like, it's unfortunate, and you applaud loyalty, but at some point, everybody is looking around going like, yeah, this isn't working.
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah. This is really bad.
Do they have any kids? I hope not.
So the Beavs now have an interim coach, and they're going to be trying to find a win somewhere throughout the season. But Shelby now on the head coaching hunt.
So if I'm Oregon State, you're looking at this college football world, and you are underfunded, you are overlooked, especially in this state because you have Oregon 40 miles down south. It's hard for you to get into the news cycle unless it is for firing a coach or woe is me, like. It's not great when you're just constantly used as the example of like, here's where college football's wrong. Like poor Oregon State. Meanwhile, like Washington State is going up against top 5 teams in the country and giving.
God, they had them too.
Yeah, they did. So if you're Oregon State, you're fighting a pretty big uphill battle, and I think especially in today's day and age, like one of the most important things is just visibility. That's what happened with realignment. It was TV networks. It was, basically like which programs can we get out there and will be received well by the rest of the country and watched well. So if you're Oregon State, that's not going to – your conference situation is not going to change overnight. Your money situation is not going to change overnight. Maybe, just maybe, like one of like the Hail Marys you can hope for is maybe you get a coach – who's a little bit known nationally, who has easy access to get on to a lot of different podcasts or TV shows, and maybe has a bit of a personality and is polarizing, and maybe just even has like a little bit of success in their back pocket. Might be a little controversial, but like just like has proven it before. Like that guy's probably not out there and available for them, right?
Clearly not.
But maybe. Okay, so we're talking about Ed Orgeron here.
Yeah, not John Gruden.
Yeah. Ed Orgeron, former LSU head coach, former USC head coach, former national championship head coach. That Joe Burrow he had was pretty good. So is that Justin Jefferson. But this week, his name has kind of come around into he might have interest in the Oregon State job. And on one hand, you go, well, that's a home run. Like, here's this program that is just fighting to stay above in the water, and you have a national championship head coach who is available, who can go get on Pardon My Take next week if he wants to, and sell the riches of Beaverville. And then on the other hand, there was a fair amount of Oregon State online chatter of like, oh, like this guy, like, this would really bring down the program if it goes wrong. Like, like we couldn't possibly. That kind of seems like a bad argument, doesn't it, Justin?
It really does, because you're down to 2 options right now if you're Oregon State, and I don't know if Beaver fans are going to like either one of them. But the idea of finding your Mike Riley, which looking back, boy, those were some good times. Did you appreciate them when they were there? But to find your Mike Riley, which is a guy that essentially sticks around, I think those days are done.
They found their Mike Riley and Jonathan Smith, and then the world blew up around him.
100%.
And then Mike went to Nebraska.
Yes. It's happening again. So, like, the idea would, if you're not going to go the route of the washed-up coach, which I think Ed Orgeron would be a terrific hire if they could pull it off, but he's washed up. Like, there's a reason why he didn't get another job after LSU. And part of it was LSU paid him a lot of money not to coach.
Correct.
But he's a washed-up coach. Okay, so let's say you go to, like, Incarnate Word or, and find, like, the hot, young, 28-year-old.
We just got to find our Kirk Cignetti,
Yeah, exactly. Except for that guy's gone in 3 years, too. He's gone in 3 years.
If you get an up-and-comer, you're going to eventually have to either pay him or fend off bigger schools. Because if they get if Oregon State gets an up-and-coming coach and he starts winning games there, everyone in college football is going to come after him.
100%. And you can't pay him because you can't afford them, because you made one of the worst NIL deals I think anybody's ever heard of. And you've been crying poor for the last decade, if not longer. So what's better, right? Essentially become like the retirement job of Ed Orgeron, which is what you would be. Like, I envision the day, Tyson, when I become retired and, like, I am going to be the meanest marshal on some golf course. I saw you guys sneaking those Trulies into your bag. Give them to me. Like, that's going to be me. Like, you guys are a hole and a half behind. Like, I will be the meanest marshal because that's all I have.
Right.
You're retired and you're a marshal on a golf course. Like, that's the dream.
Right.
That's what the Oregon State job would be, I think, for Ed Orgeron. Like, I don't think you're going to still get, now maybe I'm wrong, but like Ed Orgeron was famously like dogged recruiter.
Correct.
Like, he would not stop. I think there was a book. I can't remember who wrote it, but there was a book essentially following him his first or second year at Ole Miss when he got the Ole Miss job after being the best recruiter under Pete Carroll. And he just slams Red Bulls and is like, he's recruiting 17 hours a day. Like, I don't know if you get that guy.
Right.
But I do think you get a guy that knows a lot of people who can bring in talented football players that will maybe be there for a year and then sign an NIL deal in the Big Ten. But you at least have good football to watch, right?
You have good football. You have a coach whose press conferences you actually like want to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I mean, it was so obvious with Bray even early on of just like how uncomfortable he was in like those settings. And,
yeah.
And then, you know, the F-bomb with the halftime interview. It's just, you know, Orgeron is a bit of a loose cannon in terms of he is a pretty like huge personality. Like, my favorite thing would be like at people on the LSU campus would like post videos of like him running just shirtless around campus and
go Tigers,
go Beavers. Like that could work, right? But it's just,
I don't know if you've been running shirtless in Corvallis a lot of the time, but either way,
yeah. But it's just, you know, this he would be a coach. There's no other coach I think that Oregon State could hire in the country that's in the realm of what they could do that anybody nationally would care about, except for Ed Orgeron, because people like that story and they know him, and he was a monster personality in college football even just like 3 years ago. So like there would be at least a curiosity factor, and if it doesn't go well, like it can't be any worse than it is right now. Like, they're winless. They just fired their coach. They're playing the FCS team this weekend, where you go like, ooh, they better win that one. Mm-hmm. They better win that one, because that might be it.
You have to accept reality on reality's terms. And you have to understand that if you go and get the latest version of Kurt Signetti, which would be the dream, right? Dude's gone in 3 years. You also have to understand, okay, let's say you bring in a coach that can recruit at a crazy level at what would be considered now a non-Power 5 school, Power 4 school. You have to accept that your players are going to be gone in about a year or two. But you could still make that work, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a changing mindset.
I feel like Orgeron would be a monster in the portal.
100%.
Just like reclamation projects. Come here.
Yeah.
We'll fix you up. And
that's in a different way, but like that's kind of what Dennis Erickson did 26 years ago now. Like, Dennis Erickson, he was fired from the NFL, needed a job, took over in Corvallis. They hadn't won in forever. And all of a sudden, you get a lot of junior college transfers. Yeah. I believe they're called bounce backs, where you would go to a Division I school, not be at that school, whether it was grades or discipline or whatever reason, and then you would go junior college, bounce back, and then they would find a home in Corvallis. That's your reality.
They just need a thing, because like
you're right. They need a thing.
Because right now they're just a very standard program that is trying to do things as good as everybody else. They just don't have the resources to do that. And if you're just trying to have a normal average program, like, you're never going to outdo the people who have significantly more money than you. So you have to throw a curveball. You have to have a thing. Yeah. You have to have a, you know, even Boise State, you know, when they were winning the Mountain West and had become like one of those teams that's just like, yeah, they're like, you know, they're not a power team, but they're consistently around. Like, they kind of had a thing, whether it was like even in just like the blue freaking turf.
I got a blue field, yeah.
Yeah, like, which sounds like so stupid to say, but like, it's a thing. Like,
so Orange Field is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Go Orange Field?
Yeah, Orange Field. Yeah. Anything bothering you this week?
Dude. Okay. I got some things.
I like that shirt, by the way.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this shirt that I'm wearing, and if you're watching on YouTube, I brought up this shirt. Part of my new job, we had an event around the Portland Marathon. Mm-hmm. So this is a Portland Marathon shirt. Tyson, I did not run the Portland Marathon.
So it's best case scenario.
So, like, is it cool to wear the marathon shirt? I worked an event around the marathon, but I did not run the marathon.
I think it...
Fair or foul?
I'm glad you brought this up because my wife has run Hood to Coast the last 2 years, and both times she's gotten me a shirt.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can wear the Hood to Coast shirt. This don't run. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm in like middle school and I'm wearing like a Quicksilver shirt and someone's calling me a poser because I don't actually skateboard, you know? So yeah, like I don't know because like one, like, hey, it's a cool shirt.
Thank you.
It looks good on you. It fits well.
Thank you.
You probably don't hate that people come up and ask you like, "What is it?" It's for the marathon. It's different. I think the way you have to view it is we're sports fans. We'll wear sports stuff from our favorite teams: Mariners jersey, Steelers jersey, Braves, whatever. Like we're comfortable supporting them. I think you were just such a fan of the athletes at the Portland Marathon.
100%.
And of just running the culture and just the city of Portland, that really by wearing that shirt, you're not trying to say you were one of them, but that you support and rally behind one of them. So I think you were 100% in the clear.
Okay, good. I'll take it.
Next topic.
This was my I am mad after the Indiana loss and not in my most sober state. So I think I've mentioned it before. I'm very fortunate to have the football seats that I have through very minimal work on my part. But Tyson and I got some pretty good seats.
Yeah.
Mike Bellotti and his family have seats near my section. So I see the old coach from time to time. And every time I see the old coach, I give him a, hey, coach, because
do you look back at him when, like, the Ducks are going for it on 4th and 1 just to see if, like, he's grimacing at all or, like...
I should. Yeah. But I always like, hey, coach, how you doing?
Right.
And he's a very nice guy, gives a smile. Because I was there and I know that all of this, yes, Phil Knight, Chip Kelly, but Mike Bellotti is a pillar in what was all built. Indiana game happens. I'm in the bathroom line because, I enjoy the games.
Yeah.
Three people behind me in the bathroom line is Mike Bellotti. The two bros in front of him are sitting there talking like football strategy, and I'm just furious. Probably more so because of the loss that I had nothing to do with. But I'm just like, you guys are sitting there talking about the calls that the defensive coordinator were making, and you are standing in Oregon football royalty right now. You guys should both shut up and pay your respects. Now, again, I was emotional. I was a little buzzed. I'm
surprised Mike uses the same bathroom as everybody. He should have his own.
He should.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's a coach of the people.
If I became a college coach, that's going in my contract. When I retire,
personal bathroom.
Tyson Alger Memorial bathroom. Before I die.
But I'm just like, I'm standing there and I'm just like, you two don't even understand what is the 100-some wins that is standing behind you, and you guys don't even get it. And I'm like, this is what's wrong with Oregon football fans. And that was
what you should have done. You have the opportunity to look so cool in a couple people's eyes. You should have looked back and like, hey, Mike Bellotti, you shouldn't be in line. Come cut.
Take my spot.
Mike goes like, I like this guy. Those guys go like, oh my God, like
yeah.
Not only were we idiots, but like that guy knows Mike Bellotti. Like you could have been the king of the pisser.
What a dream. I was too busy being mad.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that was at the point where
that would be a fun story to talk to Bellotti about though. Like once you're done coaching and once you're done doing the TV stuff and you're actually a part of the crowd, like what's the dumbest football opinions you've heard, Mike? Because I bet you there's a few.
I know a fraction of football that Mike Bellotti knows, and that's even, I think, being a little bit generous. And I hear some things, and I'm just like, oh my God. what on earth is going on. And then last thing I'm going to bring up, and this is again strictly because I know we have listeners all up and down the I-5 corridor,
Correct.
which we appreciate, whether they are 541 people like me, whether they are all the way up through Blaine, Washington, and then maybe skip over Canada because you're mad at them right now.
Our next radio or our next podcast music intro is just going to be a jingle with all the area codes that we cover.
Yeah, exactly.
From the 503 to the 541, Justin Myers. Yeah, sorry, continue.
We got it. I think we're onto something there. But we are based in Portland Metro.
Correct.
So if I may, Tyson, and again, we have... I will count the Timbers because when the Timbers do play it in the city, it feels like a major event. The game's on sports bars. Yeah. But for a long time, we had one major sports team here, right? One. We have one, now two, but one pretty much major sports venue, which is now the Moda Center, formerly the Rose Garden. Tyson, basketball season... Mm-hmm. is the same every year, right?
Correct.
The NBA plays the same time every year. So would it be good or bad to shut down the one bridge in a town of 7 bridges?
Yes.
The one bridge that goes to that arena.
Shut it down.
From October to April.
Yes. 100%.
We don't think that during basketball season having that bridge out of order is maybe a bad thing.
No, like traffic sucks anyways. Like make the bridge an all pedestrian thing. Put like beer.
But it's only like one pedestrian lane.
I don't care. That it's better for the vendors then. It's a straight line through. Have beers. Like just like have some sort of like walk up or like some sort of like physical presence around there. When that was my favorite thing about being in Pittsburgh a few weeks ago was walking across that bridge to the Pirate Stadium. That thing's like a pilgrimage for every like baseball game. Like it's like part of the like the Blazers. It's just people just show up. You know, they show up a little late. They complain about traffic. Then you go pay for your like $18 beer because there's no other beers within like a mile vicinity of the place.
I don't know. I was just wondering like whose idea it was. Like, hey, we have one major thoroughfare. We have a city that's built on a river. Bridges are a very big deal in said city. There is one bridge that is a direct access to the one venue that is occupied from October to April. So maybe let's not shut it down?
Wait, do they shut it down? It
is being shut down for repairs.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I was
the Broadway Bridge is shut down currently from October to April for repairs. Not to be a cool pedestrian bridge, but to actually repair the bridge as if we didn't know basketball season was coming this year.
That's a good point. Well, I mean, at least
that's why.
At least, I mean,
I may or may not have gotten caught up in it because I may have forgotten about it.
I mean, at least they're doing it during the Dame Achilles year, you know. Like we're all repairing, we're all rehabbing a little bit.
I just was like, there's the Broadway Bridge goes right to the arena. Basketball season is October to April. You have decided to do repairs from October to April.
They're gonna open up a damn MLB stadium on like the Vancouver waterfront, and like on opening day, it's gonna be like we're redoing the interstate bridge.
100%. Did anybody decide? Just like, hey guys, you know they play basketball there. Yeah. It's October to April kind of thing.
Is it an all day thing? It's just straight out of commission.
The bridge is out of commission until April. Not even like they don't even open it at night. It's done.
The city's burning. Oh man,
we good? Ended on the bridge.
Yeah, I think.
All right.
I think the high note of me having no idea what you were talking about and being this is great.
But also, by the way, if you live in Portland Metro and you for the next 6 months have a trip across the Broadway Bridge, don't because it doesn't. It's gone. It's closed. Oh.
I was driving home from the Washington game 2 years ago after they lost that game. You know. Long day because I drove up to Seattle and back down from Seattle that day. Finally getting through Vancouver, getting to the interstate bridge. It's like 11:30 p.m. I'm gassed. I must have missed all the signs that were like, "We're doing construction on the bridge. It's closed." So I get there and it's just like, you got it. Had to end up going all the way down to the 205 bridge. Like that, it added like 20 minutes, but that was the most pissed off. So I understand where you're coming from. As the kids say, F them bridges. We'll see you guys next week.